Hello once again, Niner Faithful, and welcome back to another episode of 49ers Playbook on the channel that's trying to answer the whys and hows of the game. First and foremost, thoughts and prayers out to Damar Hamlin. It was a horrific scene last night, and normally I'd have a Manscaped ad in here, but instead, in the description I'll have a link to Damar Hamlin's GoFundMe charity, the Chasing M's Foundation, where you can donate. Remarkably, as of the recording of this episode, they've received over $4 million since last night. The 49ers were expected to steamroll through the Raiders this past Sunday as the Raiders seemed to be punting away the season, sending Derek Carr home for the rest of the year. But spearheaded by a potent offensive attack, the Raiders nearly ended San Francisco's bid to climb the seeding. Instead, the 49ers were able to come away with a win in overtime, buoyed largely by their own offense, who were able to put up 37 points in the game. Kyle Shanahan again was showing his mastery of scheme and play calling as he was constantly able to exploit what Las Vegas was doing defensively. So this episode will focus on the offense after the overwhelming response on my Twitter poll was put out to separate videos this week on the offense and the defense. So be sure to tune in Thursday to see what was going on in the defensive side of the ball. And make sure to follow me on Twitter to stay updated with everything going on with the channel. You're watching Jonnydel's Football Academy. So normally I would move pretty sequentially through the game, but we're going to jump around on a few plays because I want to highlight part of what makes Kyle Shanahan such a great play caller. So here it is, opening play of the game, 1st and 10, and we come out in 21 personnel with 2 backs and 1 tight end. Las Vegas responds with an under front, with the Sam backer over the tight end on the line of scrimmage for a 5-man front and the safety to the weak side. And they have a single safety defense. This is in the scripted portion of the play calling when the offense is sort of in a question and answer period. They're asking, how is the defense playing this personnel package and situation? We get a nice gain off an outside zone where we get great execution on our reach blocks from Brendel, Banks, and Williams, and McCaffrey reads the over pursuit perfectly. But note that the Raiders bring an extra man right before the snap. So next play, again, 1st and 10, 21 personnel, and again the Raiders are in an under front with a single safety. And again we'll bring a player on a blitz late. They play the run much better this time, and McCaffrey weaves his way for a short gain. So we're going to fast forward for a little bit. A couple drives later, here it is, 1st and 10, 21 personnel. The Raiders are in an under front, single safety. We're going to bring Ayuk in motion, and then go with play action, and use Jennings to clear out, and bring Kittle and Ayuk both on crossing routes. Again, note that just before the snap, the Raiders bring a guy on the blitz. So with a single safety to play zone, they're going to have 3 deep and only 3 underneath. And you see how the play fake and blitz stresses the coverage and Kittle is actually wide open. Not sure why Purdy doesn't go there with the ball and he ends up going to Ayuk, which isn't a terrible option, and it draws a pass interference. But you're seeing how Kyle used the information he gathered from the opening sequence. So now it's 1st and 10 again coming out of the half, and we have 21 personnel, but this time Las Vegas responds with a 4-man front. And this time we have an outside toss dialed up. Kyle talked about how Ayuk really struggled in this game before he made some big catches late. Here's an example of this. He's supposed to have a crack block on the safety, and he completely whiffs. If he makes that block, we have an explosive run. Instead, the drive ends in a 3 and out, but you're going to see Kyle attacking what the defense is doing. So here's a little later, and it's 2nd down. It's 2nd and 5, so it's still a rundown situation. And we're again 21 personnel. The Raiders again respond with an underfront with a single safety. This time we have another play action pass. This time a speedo concept with Ayuk running a clearing route, Kittle on a deep over route, and McCaffrey out in the flat. Again, Las Vegas brings a guy down late on the blitz, and it's a 3 deep and 3 underneath, and again you see how it stresses the defense with Kittle being wide open. I think the depth of the flat defender spooked Purdy a little bit, so he checks it down. That's where if he just gives a little shoulders or even a head fake to McCaffrey, he can hit Kittle for a huge gain. But McCaffrey is still able to make a nice gain out of it. So here again, first down, 21 personnel, and the Raiders, having been exposed off the play pass, are again back to a 4-man front. And this time they're going to keep both safeties in position to come down into the box based off either late motion or post-snap action. Once Juice starts in motion, you can see they're going to drop one safety and bring out another. But again, Kyle Shanahan, now he's got Juice on a wind back block and Ayuk on an end around reverse. It's almost a situation where the play was too successful as Ray McCloud doesn't pick up anyone to block and Ayuk is tackled, but it could have been a score. So now, first down again, 21 personnel, and Las Vegas is now in a 3-4 odd front, and the Raiders will bring a safety down to the weak side. So we're coming with an end trap to the strong side. But McGlinchey, who gets a lot of heat from fans, has a great block on the 5-tech. Croft, even though he gets knocked down, gets himself back up and seals off the stack backer. And then Juice comes around and picks up the safety to spring McCaffrey for the score. So again, later in the game, 1st and 10, 21 personnel, Las Vegas is back in an under front, single safety. This time they won't blitz, but it's still cover 3 zone. We're again going to run our speedo concept like I showed earlier, and we get Jennings open for a huge gain. So being hit with the pass, Las Vegas is back in a 4-man front, and we're going to run a corner post, which you make this look like your slide concept, but you have the corner route run a corner post. Now, number one, this is a really good play by the backside corner, but this is also a learning experience for Purdy. Don't rush this play too much. He needs to set his feet and lead this ball down the field much more. Instead, he's drifting while he throws and it comes up short, which allows the corner to make a play on it. But you're seeing how Kyle is using that information that started out on the first drive. But back at it again, 1st and 10, 21 personnel, the Raiders are in the same 4-man front. So Kyle uses a twins formation, which will cause the linebacker to detach out over the receiver. With only a 4-man front, this now stresses their backside run pursuit, so Kyle uses that. We'll run a wide zone fake to the strong side, then look to hit McCloud on a screen. You can see how the run fake stresses the linebacker trying to play pursuit, and we spring McCloud for a huge gain. Again, first and 10, 21 personnel, the Raiders are in a 5-man front. We'll bring 5 and have a single safety. So we run Ayuk and Juice on a slant flat concept with only 3 underneath defenders. And Purdy sees the underneath defender go out on the flat route and hits Ayuk on the slant. So, second and medium, another rundown, 21 personnel, the Raiders are back to a 3-4 odd front. Single safety. Now we're going to run a play where, if you've watched the channel the past few weeks, is one we've run with Purdy a lot, where it's a spot concept with a swing pass and a backside slant with Ayuk. With Las Vegas again trying to bring 5 on the run, we have a nice opening for Ayuk on the slant. But through this whole sequence, you're seeing Kyle's play calling from the information gathered during the opening script of the game. So now we're going to go all the way back to the first drive again and follow another thread, this time second and long. Here it's second and long and we're in 21 personnel. The Raiders are showing a single safety pre-snap but rotate late out into a Tampa 2 zone. Here Purdy checks it down to McCaffrey, who's able to pick up a few yards. So the next drive we have a second and long and we come out at 11 personnel with 1 back and 1 tight end. And you'll see that again Las Vegas is showing a box safety but then backs out late. But Kyle has an outside zone called up to that side and we get a nice gain. Again, using the information from the opening drive. Great reach block by Banks and a nice job by Kittle and Williams to work their blocking rules and we get a big hole. Then another second and long, we run a draw play. Again, looking to take advantage. The Raiders did have a single safety on this play, but you see Kyle's thought process. So rewind it back a little, second and long again, and we're in 12 personnel with 1 back and 2 tight ends. You see the Raiders are again going to be in a Tampa 2 coverage. So Kyle has a couple whip routes dialed up, which you'll be familiar with if you've watched the channel, where we make this look like a smash concept with a corner route and a flat route, but have the corner route break off in what's called a whip route. Purdy had Jennings open, not sure why he didn't pull the trigger, but he takes the safer throw to Kittle in the flat. So then later, after a weird holding call on Kittle, it's 1st and 20, so same situation as second and long, it's no longer a run down. We're in 11 personnel, but same formation. And again, we're going to run a couple whip routes, and again, the Raiders come out in a Tampa 2 coverage. And this time, Purdy pulls the trigger on Jennings for the whip route. So you can see what Kyle is seeing in these situations, and I really like that Purdy learned from the previous play. They had a chance to go to the sideline, talk about what was missed. It was going to come up again, and this time they hit it. Again, you're seeing the information being used from the very first drive. So back to the first drive. The first third and short, and it nearly goes for a score. So here the Raiders are aggressively trying to fill each gap at the line, and we bust a big run. This is an end trap where we'll block down and then pull Banks to kick out the end man. This really works because the Raiders were in man coverage and Kittle is able to get a 2-for-1 as his defender runs with him on a potential route. And McCaffrey nearly gets into the end zone. So next third and short, the Raiders are backing off a little, but still have to play aggressive gap filling. So we run Juice on a dive, and you see the linebackers attack hard play side, cluing on McCaffrey, and Juice sets us up at goal to go. So back to the opening drive. It's goal and short, and we're going to try and run Jordan Mason inside. We have the strength of the formation to the boundary side, and this puts Butler, number 58, to that side, and he attacks very aggressively on the run. So we next come out in a balance set, and Butler, 58, is again on the boundary side. So now we're going to run play action and Ayuk on a slant behind him. We first motion McLeod across to remove the safety, and you see Butler again bite hard, and we hit Ayuk on the slant for the touchdown. But again, you're seeing Kyle calling the plays based off the information the defense is showing him. So next I'll talk about Purdy's touchdown pass to Kittle. You love the result, but sometimes, and this is a perfect example, success can hinder learning. We saw earlier that Purdy was learning when he missed Jennings on the whip route and then came back to hit him later. Here we start out with Juice out wide, and with a corner on him, it reveals zone coverage. The Raiders have two high safeties in a cover 2 zone. We're going to have a spacing concept at the 3 receiver side, which is good against man or cover 3, and then have a smash concept at the 2 receiver side. That would work against cover 2, as it would put the cloud defender in a vertical stretch. Purdy picks the 3 receiver side, which this defense can defeat that concept. He should be picking the 2 receiver side. Instead, he ends up rolling out because he's feeling the clock ticking because he did pick the wrong side. But he does do a really, really nice job of finding Kittle in the back of the end zone and putting the ball where only Kittle could get it. But let's look at another play. So it's goal to go again, third down, and we're going to have a spacing concept dialed up, which is a good cover 3 beater, and then an Ohio concept to the 2 receiver side, which is a protection release fade, plus a quick out that works well against cover 2, as it would put the cloud defender in a vertical stretch. Late, the Raiders back out into a 2 zone. Purdy gets a little fooled here because he's thinking this is man coverage. He should be reading the corner, but he's reading Jennings like it's man. He sees the corner sitting on Jennings' route, and that's when he needs to work it to the fade. That's where the stretch of the defense is. Instead, he moves to Kittle and gets away with one. But that's where you can see the information from earlier was there, you just got to work the right zone stretch. Then Kyle had some really well-timed screen calls in this game. Here we're going to get McCaffrey on a screen, and this is where McCaffrey is just special. He's able to make this a huge play. Then going down in what was hoped to be the game-winning drive, that's when offenses and defenses tend to be in their most simplest calls. You want high execution, not necessarily the most complex. The Raiders are showing man coverage, and we're going old school West Coast here with a slant flat. Purdy picks Ayuk on the slant flat side, reads the leverage, and the man defender on McCaffrey sees him stay in a block and converts to a spy. Purdy makes a heck of a throw to get it into Ayuk, and Ayuk ran a heck of a route to get open. Also, big props to the offensive line for great protection. So then, second and long, the Raiders are going to stay in man coverage, and this time with a zero blitz to get more pressure. But Kyle has a screen to McCaffrey set up. He saw them coming with heat earlier and is making them pay. And McCaffrey with the angry run. We then get Jordan Mason in for his first career touchdown. We're running our wide zone and Brunskill does a great job in his reach block. Juice gets to the second level, and Ayuk redeems himself from his poor blocking earlier to get Mason in for the touchdown. So back on offense after the Raiders manage to tie it up, we're going to first run a little sucker concept we've seen a bunch of times, and we catch the Raiders in quarters coverage. So then the Raiders are going to be in cover one man. We have a spacing concept at the top, and Purdy sees the man coverage and hits Ayuk on the slant. So cover one man again, and this time we're going to have a double slant concept, and Purdy sees the lurk defender and tries to hit McCaffrey on the outside slant, who drops it. But the play worked. So what does Kyle do? Flip the play. This time we have Ayuk on the outside slant. Same defense, and this time we get a good game that sets us up in field goal range. Unfortunately, after a crazy catch by Ayuk, Robbie misses the field goal but redeems himself in overtime to get the 49ers to their 9th straight win. Well, as you see, Kyle is a master of the opening script and taking advantage of what the defense is trying to do. Stay tuned later this week as we'll be dropping a review of the defensive miscues during the game. Also, if you'd like to support the channel in any way, I'll have links for that below. And if you saw the announcement video, you already know that we're launching a new podcast on Monday, January 9th. So make sure to stay tuned and we'll keep it posted where you can download just the audio copy to have that wherever you go. But until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and go Niners.